Dude, oh my God, dude.
Oh my, this can't be real.
I need to sit down.
This can't.
Tim, we need to take this to the grave. We cannot tell anybody. This changes literally this changes everything.
No, I know. We can never talk. We can never talk.
I might actually puke. Get back a little. I might puke. Stay back.
Oh my.
A good amount of the children did report getting telepathically spoken to.
I remember just like dropping the bag of trash that I had over my shoulder and just like staring at it.
Do you think this is mostly mass hysteria, or do you think there could be some truth to this? Welcome to the Frost Saws podcast. Today we'll be discussing the Ariel School Incident. So the Ariel School Incident is an event that took place outside of Ruwa, Zimbabwe on September 16th, 1994, where multiple children claimed to have seen a UFO and seemed to be pretty scared of it. So joining us today... All good.
I was going to say, I think multiple is an understatement.
It was a lot of kids.
Yeah.
But here's Cam, the other host of the Frost Files podcast.
Heck yeah. Back for episode 3 on what I personally think is one of the least spoken about and the most underrated of all UFO sightings. So this happened back in 1994. So this is obviously, before the time of like internet and smartphones and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think they had internet, but it was terrible.
Yeah, I mean, this is also like South Africa, so I don't know what they had going on down here in Zimbabwe.
You're good. Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm sure any, early 90s technology, stuff like that. Not that they might not have had it down there, but, technology in the early 90s, was not all that great anyways. So in this incident, leading up to it, there had been multiple, reported UFO sightings or strange occurrences, happening in the sky, stuff like that. And, this is before, the SpaceX days where, Elon Musk is just shooting a rocket up into space just because.
It wasn't happening every day. Yeah.
Yeah. So leading up to the event, there was a lot of unexplained occurrences happening in the sky. But on the night of the event itself, or I guess on the day of the event itself, September 16th, 1994, there was an incident where allegedly all the children in the school, which is 62 children, so it's not just like 5 or 6 kids, this is over 60 children, reportedly all started crying around the same time, unexplainably. And then shortly after that, some of them are to have reported have seen a UFO or, some form of alien spaceship land. They saw aliens step out, and, they had suits on and stuff like that. I guess not like dress suits per se, but like alien suits, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they never specified, so it's just up to the imagination, I guess.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Naturally, when something like this happens, people are going to investigate it. Authorities are going to investigate. And how else do you get the story straight with 62 different children other than to interview them individually and ask them what they saw?
Yeah, so this is the interesting part because, like you said, like 62 is a ton of children. So while all of their claims weren't necessarily exactly the same, a large majority were. It was like I don't have the specific number, but it was definitely less than 10 kids that had different experiences than the other like what would be 52. So most of them describe a UFO landing between the trees out in their schoolyard, and I'm pretty sure it was open fence. It's South Africa, different layout and everything. Rich school too, so they just had land. Had those little, it had like a bike kickstand on both sides, so it easily came down. And then, yeah, like you described, 2 aliens wearing, they never said if they were matching or not. That'd be kind of cute. But little matching suits. They came down, quickly gave them a message about how the Earth is in danger. And this was described by actually a good amount of the children. Again, we're not going to have those exact numbers. I don't think anybody does. But a good amount of the children did report getting telepathically spoken to about a message regarding the Earth being in danger because of humans in the future. Basically, that they were a danger to themselves, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. Could you imagine just like, what if we did that to another planet, like just pulled up on someone, we're like, hey, y'all are fucking dangerous, like you need to chill out.
Right?
But we're,
Imagine that we just pull up and we're just like, hey, you're cooked.
you need to stop.
Yeah, and like the thing with it is like it's already like I want to say it's plausible already because how do you have that many people report the exact same thing like separately? But they're children, like school age children. It's not like this is like college or anything like that. These aren't like young adults. And even if these are like a teenage prank, like still awfully coordinated. But I do believe these are like elementary age children. And saying, that we received a message in our minds that humans were going to destroy the world and that they were here to warn us. That's a pretty heavy subject for like
I was
kids to be
thinking
like
that.
talking about. Kids aren't usually, concerned with the end of the world. You know, I don't know, climate change or nuclear devastation or I don't know whatever they may have been referring to or whatever. I don't know if there was something specifically said that humans would do to cause the end of the world, but it's a pretty heavy topic for kids to be, like coming up with and talking about as a prank, you know?
No, it's absolutely insane. Like maybe nowadays I would understand just because the influence from like the internet. Like I don't know if that's like a
Yeah,
trend, but um, nowadays I would
yeah,
completely understand.
yeah. I mean, like nowadays, it would be like a prank where like some kid like slips like I don't know, like all in like the water fountain or something, and everyone's tripping or something. I don't know, but like I just
That's
I don't
insane.
know, like
That's fucked up.
hey man, kids these days are crazy, dude. Or like some
It
new
be
TikTok
happening though,
trend.
and yeah, like
Yeah,
14 kids will die and they'll post it on TikTok like Fet challenge successful.
yeah, right. Anyways, but yeah, like you would think if it were like a prank or something, it would they wouldn't be like, oh, like they told us, if we're not careful, the world is gonna end. You would think they would say like, oh, if you don't, cancel the school, for the rest of the year, or if you don't, you know, give us an A+ on all of our homework for the rest of the year, or something kid dumb like that, that I would you'd be like, okay, yeah, these kids are stupid, it was just a prank, I guess they all got together and thought it'd be funny. But to say like the world is going to be ending at our own hands, it just didn't seem like something school children would come up with.
It's very drawn out. And then, so yeah, they reported this to one of the, I guess you would say teachers, professors. I don't know what they went by, because it was like an academy type thing. But so they reported it to him. He had some disbelief at first, and then all these stories started rolling in. And then that's when they started drawing the pictures after these stories came in that really matched up. And most of the pictures, some you'll be seeing right now. I'll be switching some out, um, very similar to each other. Like he was saying, like if this was pre-coordinated, like that would be, I mean, for the age group, that's almost impossible. Like it has to be impossible. There's no way. And they didn't have technology. They couldn't like
Yeah,
text each other like, hey, everybody, draw the same UFO, and
yeah.
pretend they talk to us.
I
It's
mean,
not possible.
granted, I feel like as kids, we did all draw like the same things for certain things. Like when we think of like a UFO, we think of like a flying saucer. When we think of aliens, we think of like the little green men with big eyes. Um, when we draw a car as a kid, it's usually like the little box car with the little wheels. There's a lot of things kids do just draw similarly, but I think in this context, like for an object that allegedly doesn't exist, in a species that allegedly doesn't exist, to have that many drawings just be like similar is crazy.
Yeah. So
Like in a lot of these, the windows are in the same spot. Aliens are, the same way. The suits they draw look the same. It's kind of scary.
no, it genuinely is. And there's definitely some differences, but these are also young kids, so I mean, your brain only like holds information so long when you're that young. Um, Not that I'm trying to instantly defend that this is instantly true or whatever, but I mean, the kickstands look the same. That's like a pretty easy thing to get down. I think there's one where they're like spikes instead, but for the most part, they're the same. Um, do you
Yeah.
do you think this is mostly mass hysteria, or do you think there could be some truth to this?
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, like, mind you, this is like 14 miles south of like the capital city of Zimbabwe. So like, while it's not necessarily a booming metropolis, it's probably somewhat populated for it to be a capital city. And think of like what's 14 miles away from you. Like, I live, in a metropolitan city.
Which
You
one?
know, it
What's your address?
well, it's 10874 Main Street, Rua, Zimbabwe. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
Um, no, but I mean, like, if I were to see like a helicopter flying over, like a part of the city, odds are, like I can see a helicopter that's within 14 miles away, but like a big fiery lit up, UFO landing in the middle of, a rural area that's, I don't know the exact geography, but likely relatively flat, like, and there's probably not very much light pollution or smog, like you would have in like a big city. Odds are a lot of people would probably see it. So I mean, as far as like plausibility, I feel like there would be more people like, oh my god, those kids are right. Like I saw that too. Like I didn't see it, on the ground, but I saw it coming down. But I mean, it's aliens. It could be anything. Maybe they just teleported. I don't know.
before we get any further into this, I mean, well, first of all, welcome to Alien Month. June is our new Alien Month for the foreseeable future, until I guess we're apparently going to be destroyed, as reported by the kids at the school. I mean, we should just talk about the fact, like, the existence of aliens in general before we continue any further, I think. I
Hmm.
mean, the universe is so, I mean, it's endless. And I know there's technically the galaxies aren't endless, but they're spreading out, and like we still don't understand how space works. It's like stuff is still being created. Everything is just so. I mean, it pretty much is endless. Um,
Yeah, with that, did you hear? I have to find it. But apparently, or I should say allegedly, um, there is like 9 different possible like alien, or I should say extraterrestrial like structures that are like built around stars. It's not confirmed,
I
but
saw that. Yeah.
it's been like theorized. I'll have to find like some pictures and like
It
find the article.
yeah, it's based on like the science behind it. Like they don't have any pictures or anything, but there's a scientific reason for that. There having to be like something going on there. And it's always possible that could be like a very tight asteroid belt or something, but I mean, these guys are highly intelligent, and maybe they're not correct, but they're the guys you want to trust on this subject until like further notice, for sure.
I found what I was looking for here. So this is an article from just a few weeks ago, May 17th, 2024, from Newsweek. Alien energy collecting megastructures may have been detected around stars. Apparently, 7 different stars in our galaxy may show signs of being contained within what's called a Dyson sphere, which was a theorized alien contraption, or a megastructure which would be built around a star to harness the radiation energy and like power an entire civilization. Um, so allegedly, um, these are all like dwarf stars, much smaller than our sun. But I guess, after analyzing them, scientists, um, detected some forms of like obstructions around the stars that can't really be explained without getting a clearer image of those stars. Um, so, it could be something like some form of advanced solar panel harnessing energy, uh, radiation energy from those stars. I just thought that was interesting to bring up since we're talking about aliens. But
Yeah,
yeah, so allegedly, there's 7 different alien civilizations out there, or just one big one. Um, could explain why images of those stars were super dim when they should have been brighter,
that's scary as fuck.
right? That's in our galaxy too.
That's so terrifying.
It's not even in a galaxy far, far away,
That's here.
right?
That's some like what's that game? You know the one I'm talking about. Some like Destiny shit.
True. Bro, if the Traveler pulls up, if I die and I don't become a Guardian, dude, like I was a day one D2 player. You know how bad Destiny 2 was at launch? And I played it for like 5 years straight,
You
dude.
paid for it.
That's right. Every expansion,
Um,
right? Telling you, dude, if I don't become a Guardian, I'm gonna be pissed.
so yeah, I mean in general that's just insane, but like there's certain evidences, like we've already found bacteria on Mars. I don't think I have to say allegedly. I think that's just a fact.
Yeah.
And then Titan, the moon of what is it, Saturn?
Hmm.
Also, I believe they've discovered or are about to discover. Not trying to be a fortune teller or anything, but surprise. Also more bacteria and like really small sea life and stuff. We'll see as time goes on. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Well, I mean, Titan is it's a moon, and it's like its surface is like predominantly covered in like water. So it's like it's not too out of the realm of possibility, for like there to be some form of like microorganisms. I mean, life started on our planet, in the oceans, microbacteria and stuff like that. There could be an entire ecosystem of, micro creatures, just floating around in there. And depending on how many millions of years they've been there, they could have been evolving all this time, alongside our planet. So I mean, there could be, again, if you're a Destiny player, you know what I'm talking about. Um, be some worms over there or something like that. You know what I mean?
that's funny. I don't play much Destiny. I played a little bit, but I remember playing on Titan, so that reference I did get. I'm very happy for
Yeah.
that.
And I mean, it's a pretty big moon too. I mean, I don't necessarily think it's like Earth size, Um, but hey, you never know.
So the size of Titan's moon is it's the largest moon of Saturn and the second largest in the solar system. Is the only moon to have an atmosphere denser than the Earth's.
So
Um,
think about it. Not only could there be like bugs floating around in the water, but they're probably pretty strong bugs, all
oh,
that extra
absolutely.
gravity.
So, so what were you saying?
But yeah, I mean, not to stray too far off the topic of, like the whole Ariel thing, but just thinking about all these reported, extraterrestrial events, happening in our galaxy, I mean, it's not, to me at least, it's not too far out of the realm of possibility that like there's stuff out there, maybe there's not these advanced civilizations, like Dyson spheres and giant worms on Titan,
That one's
but
proven.
this, hey, I mean, if they did in Destiny, it's got to be.
It's got to be real, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, there's got to be something out there. I think it's easy to refute, but at the same time, it's hard to not give it plausibility. Like, it's got to be something, I mean, there's creatures on Earth that can thrive in, like the harshest environments, whether it be extreme cold or extreme heat. I mean, hell, I live in Arizona, Maine. It's already in the triple digits. So I mean, I'm a testament to that. Yeah, I mean, whether it's microorganisms like bacteria and plankton, that live in the methane-filled oceans of Titan, or some advanced civilization building Dyson spheres around dwarf stars, or little green men pulling up to Zimbabwe and hopping out to kick it with some school kids. I mean, you never know.
I mean, just basically there has to be alien life. So to instantly doubt these kids is wrong. You can't just
Yeah.
instantly not believe what they're saying.
I don't personally know. I've never been there, and I certainly wasn't there in 1994, so I can't confirm. There's also not very much like media out there on this Ariel School. I'm sure somebody can find more information if they did enough research. But I mean, we've been looking into this for a little while now.
Couldn't
There's
find
not
it.
very much of what life was like at that school before and after this event, but it's interesting. I mean, there's also some theories of I mean, with every possible UFO, there's always some explanation. There's something that some non-believer, God, that makes me sound so
Brian
crazy.
Dunning.
Right, right. Some skeptic, there's always some claim.
Yeah, there always is a claim. So for Brian Dunning, he didn't think it was a UFO out there that night. He thought it was a Zenit 2 rocket coming in on re-entry. Um, so this Zenit 2 rocket was specifically from the Cosmos 2290 satellite launch, and it came out of Kazakhstan. To be specific, it was two words I cannot pronounce, and then Kazakhstan.
Is
And
the Baikonur Cosmodrome, which
that's pretty cool. That's a cool name.
wait, hold on.
Hold on, he's lore keeping right now. He knows something.
Okay, so Cosmodrome, it's another Destiny reference. I mean, that's where you start that's where you first wake up in
No way.
Destiny 1.
What?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the same Cosmodrome,
Okay.
but I mean, I'm sure it's some fictional Cosmodrome or
Are
something
we
like
sure?
that. Wait a minute.
Are we sure?
Wait. The Cosmodrome is based upon a real-world location in Kazakhstan. Bungie artists stated that they chose the Baikonur Cosmodrome as the game's starting point in its
This is
history.
crazy.
Okay, never mind. So, yeah, I guess that's two Destiny references in this Alien episode.
That's
That's
actually
awesome.
crazy. This is just the
Yeah,
Destiny episode.
I know. I had to fact check myself on that because I was like, no, I feel like it is the same Cosmodrome, but yeah, I guess so. So, um, for reference, Kazakhstan, that's between Russia and China. So it's all the way in Asia. Zimbabwe is like at the very bottom of Africa, not at South Africa, but just north of the country South Africa. Um, which, fun fact, we checked this. If you were to drive from Kazakhstan to Zimbabwe, that's like a, what was it, 150 something hour drive?
152, yeah.
Yeah, 152-hour drive if you were to drive from Kazakhstan. Um, but anyways, we are gonna drop in a quick ad break, and we're gonna be right back.
So this company is actually ran by some family members of mine. So I can tell you firsthand, they're good. That company is Option 1 Plumbing. So if you need plumbing in Southern California, Phoenix, Arizona, North or South Carolina, make sure to give them a call. They provide a flat rate, so you're not spending more money than you have to. They care about saving you money. Not only that, but they also want to make sure your pipes are maintained so they don't have to come back so soon. So when you're thinking plumbers, there's no option like option 1. Reach out to them at 1-888-972-3291. We're back. So Cam, tell us more about Cosmodome and tell us more about
Yes.
Destiny.
Yeah, so I was actually there. I woke up. The first thing I see is my ghost, which is a little. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So I mean, this is all the way up in Kazakhstan. There was a satellite launch there. Um, the running theory that this wasn't a UFO. This was either part of that satellite, coming down back into the atmosphere, which would explain, the big fiery, ball of light. But it doesn't necessarily explain, an actual ship or aircraft, touching down, somewhat gracefully, and little aliens jumping out and telepathically communicating with over 60 different children, which prompted some minor form of mass hysteria leading up to it, in which all 62 children started crying simultaneously. But it would explain seeing some weird anomaly up in the sky. I mean, um, in today's modern world, a fair amount of us have seen, either rocket launches in person, or seen, rockets leaving the atmosphere. I mean, I remember back in like 2017, the big SpaceX launch, or yeah, it was like 2017,
Oh
18.
yeah.
Um, a funny story about that. I had no clue that was even a thing at the time, and I'm working at my friend's dad's auto shop, and I was the guy who like mopped the floors, took out the trash and stuff, and we're closing for the night, and I'm like, hey guys, I'm gonna take the trash to the dumpster. So I walk outside, and I'm like, well, it's unusually bright for nighttime, and I look up and just see like this weird, object cutting through the sky,
What?
big glowing light, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's happening! North Korea just dropped a nuke on the United States." I was like, "This is it." Um,
Did you was
I,
that gen
I,
did
I
you think Alien second? Like what was your entire brain process?
no, I mean, this is like 2017. This is like the height of like Trump v North Korea, beef. So I'm like, dang, we really just smoked North Korea like that. Like it's over. I was like, the world is gonna. It was like Fallout is about to begin. Like of all of like the video game like canon like starting points that like the world could have diverged into. I mean, I'm glad it wasn't The Last of Us, but apparently it was Fallout in my head. So like,
Yeah.
I'm over here like okay, this is my life now. I was like, I'm gonna turn into a ghoul, and the world is over. But no, I mean, like I was just standing there like awestruck. I mean, it didn't. Everyone in the auto shop didn't start simultaneously crying, but I remember just like dropping the bag of trash that I had over my shoulder, and just like staring at it. And then when other people saw me staring, other people came outside and they're like, "What the fuck?"
That's so
Um,
cinematic.
yeah, I mean, it was literally like something out of a movie. But no, I mean, it took like a quick Google search, because it was 2017, to find out, oh, like SpaceX launched a satellite tonight, right? I think I just opened Twitter and it was like pictures of the new Tesla, SpaceX, launch. Elon Musk sent a rocket into space. And I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense.
They should have
Um,
told us more before they did that. Like that was kind of scary. Like you can't just be doing that.
right? Like, I couldn't have got like a text alert or something like that, or, I mean, granted, I didn't watch very much news, a teenager, but. Um, I had no clue that was going to happen. So I mean, part of that, there's some plausibility to, hey, if a chunk of a rocket's fuselage, fell back and started burning up in the atmosphere, explains a burning spear of light in the sky. But and then I don't know the exact flight plan, of the of the rocket, but um, something like that, with no light pollution and stuff like that, I'm sure you could see it from a very fair distance away.
Well,
Plus, when you're shooting a rocket straight up in the sky, naturally it's going to look like it's going sideways just because the curvature of the Earth and the atmosphere and whatnot. Um, you know,
yeah, no, absolutely. So the weird thing about this one, however, is so this event, this Cosmos 2290 rocket launch, happened on Friday, August 26th, still 1994 at 5 a.m. Um,
yeah,
whereas the other one occurred on September 16th, so it was almost a month later, just might give or take 10 days, 10 to
yeah,
11. Um, so that's quite a bit of time. And again, we don't work for NASA, we don't work for, like JPL or anything. We don't know exactly how long rockets stay in the atmosphere. If you know that, please put it in the comments. I feel like
yeah,
that's a pretty long amount of time. And I know, no, I just feel like that's a pretty long amount of time. I don't, I feel like they don't eject rockets like too low in the atmosphere, but I feel like it's not like in actual like space either. So I don't know if anybody knows more, please let us know below. But yeah, I mean the times are far off, and I don't think it would fall later on. It is possible, 100%. I'm not gonna doubt it. I don't have the science behind it, but yeah. So if it really was the rocket re-entering the atmosphere, and that's what they saw, I mean, but there was also multiple sightings at multiple different times. Um, could it have like been falling into pieces? I don't know. Um, but it does add some mystery to the subject at hand. Like, are these fireballs actually UFOs? Or, yeah, I mean, it really could just be little flying pieces of metal. So,
yeah. I mean, who knows? I mean, the children that were there, I mean, they know what they saw, and of course, people are gonna, they're entitled to their opinion. They're gonna believe what they want to believe. Is this just some, pre-planned, large scale, hoax, or is this, some form of mass hysteria? I mean, was there like a gas leak in the building? Everyone got a little loopy, or was this just a chunk of a rocket, falling out of the sky? Or do you actually believe that UFOs exist, and that it's plausible that if enough people witness the same event and recall, the same thing about that event, that we can give it a shred of credibility.
yeah, I think one thing we're going to start doing in this episode, because I just thought of it right now and I think it's super cool. Let me know if you agree. But like a percentage in which we believe in the theory.
Yeah, I mean, hearing all the information, I'd say I would have to give this one. I'm 55% in that it happened.
Um,
And that's just because like you can't have that many people, children at that, all say the same thing. I mean, anyone who's been around children, like or in like a school setting, stuff like that. As an adult, like children are unorganized. In large groups. They're easy to rile up. They're easy to It's easy for them to get distracted. But for that many kids to lock in on the same thing and be like, yes, this is what happened, and it's something insane, I think we can give it a shred of credibility. You know?
yeah, and like I mean, there's like defenses knocking both sides down. Like it was the rocket reentering. But I mean, that still doesn't explain the event at the school. I mean, that's kind of just unrelated. That took place in Harare, which is the town, the capital. Um, I think all around Southern Africa, actually. But I mean, in
Yeah.
general, yeah, he's right. These 62 kids, almost all of them have like similar stories and similar drawings. And again, like kids' brains are small, like they don't work as well, undeveloped. So yeah, it makes sense they have some details mixed up or remember things just slightly differently. Um,
Yeah.
but again, as you said, they are kids. So you have to kind of take that grain of salt and, maybe somehow they communicated with each other and thought it'd be hilarious, or one person just heard the story and they were all there when the story was being told, so they all came up with the same, like, just heard what I guess the first story was, and then pictured it in their head, and it was close to the same thing. I mean, either way, I think that's why he is right, and I'm going to agree, and then we'll give it a total of 55%. I was thinking about being different, but I that sounds like exactly what I believe, and I don't want to make the math
Yeah,
complicated either.
yeah, and just another detail to add into the story. Some of the children had reported like it made a sound. I'm in an article from y.org, which is a product of PBS and NPR. Um, One of the children they interviewed, they asked, if it made a sound, was it like a buzz or like a hum, what kind of noise? And she said it was like someone was blowing a flute. Other kids, reported like sounds of like buzzing, like bees or electricity. But I mean, if you've ever stood like under like a power line or something like that, it makes like kind of a weird electrical noise,
Yep,
um,
little
almost
hum.
like a droning noise. Yeah, like hearing it long enough, you could say like, okay, yeah, it kind of just sounds like a flute, or something like that, because it's just the same constant note. Um, But I mean, even then, like, say there were power lines running over the school, you would think the kids, playing in the same place at recess every day would be rather accustomed to that noise and just be like, oh yeah, like it's not a UFO, it's just power lines making that noise. That makes sense to me. But clearly that's not the case here. If it's something that stuck out to a lot of these kids. Also, I was able to confirm at the time of the incident, these were the staff. So the adults at the school, they were inside having a meeting, and the children were outside in the yard playing. And these are kids aged 6 to 13. So I mean, these are pretty
Yeah.
young kids. Still in their imaginative phase. I'll give it that. Um, I think that's where that other like 45% of me comes in. That's like, yeah, I don't really buy it. Is because I've been 6 years old before, and I've been 13 years old before, and in both of those ages, my child mind, is very imaginative. I can, I could totally see me and my friends in middle school. Hey, what if there was a
Yeah.
UFO that came down, and I mean, me
Or
and Daniel
even,
met when we were like 12 years old, so I mean, like, we were
yeah,
those
right
goofy
in that
kids,
brain.
So I mean, yeah, I mean, like, how crazy is it, that your school starts a rumor, like cheese touch or something like that, like there's stuff like that. I mean, for example, when I was in elementary school, I'm gonna use a different name for this individual, just in for their privacy. Um, I'll call him Freddie.
What's his social
Um,
security?
156. No, I'm just kidding. Um,
Okay, I'll just put
this
it on screen.
individual, bet.
Go ahead.
Um, yeah, it was like a running like gag at our school that like if you touched him, you would get Freddy germs, and it was like our
Oh,
version of the cheese touch.
that's
And
sad.
like, yeah, I mean, in hindsight, it was very sad, but it was like everyone went with it. I mean, he was a cool kid, he was a good sport, but um,
I mean,
it's easy for like a school, like an entire grade of school kids to like all fall in line with like the same thing, the same game, or the same joke or something like that. Freddy germs. Oh, if you touch Freddy, you'll get Freddy germs. If you touch a girl, you'll get cooties. It's really easy for school children to like all fall in line with something like that. So it's like, oh, there's a UFO in the yard, hey teacher, guess what? We saw a UFO, and then everyone's like, yep, I saw it too. I was there. There was aliens. Um, it's super easy for kids to just be like, all on the same page, when it's something funny or it's something that's like they can consider a game. Um, but for them to like stick to it, when people are investigating it and interviewing them, you would think at least one would just be like, "No, we were just playing. Like that was just a joke."
That's the thing. There was only like 3 kids who weren't in on it. And I think even with like peer pressure, you'd still have more kids, and then at least one kid saying like, "Nah, that never happened." Like they're all lying. You're gonna
Yeah,
have
I
that
mean, like,
snitch.
yeah, like I mean, they sat these kids down with like licensed therapists and to talk it over and stuff like, hey, what happened? Of course, the stories are kind of scattered. One kid said they saw this, the other said they saw that, but the what they saw, or sorry, not one kid said they saw this, but the stories, like, oh well, it sounded like this, or this happened, but the part where they're like, what did you see? That part is so consistent. It's really hard to just write it off as like kids being kids.
100%.
Yeah.
And
So I guess that's where I'm at on it.
no, and I completely agree. And I think too that like with 13-year-olds, like you can easily get a 13-year-old that can control the younger kids too, like kind of take over, and he's the one who's like leading this whole thing. Um,
Yeah.
exactly.
I
Yeah.
mean,
So what were you gonna add?
yeah. I mean, it exactly. What was it, a schoolyard game like Freddy Germs, or was it the cheese touch? Or was it these children actually saw something that at their age they just could not explain?
But no, 100%. So yeah, we are giving this theory a 55%. We have some reasonable doubt, but the stories all adding up are a little strange. And then some sightings the day before in a nearby city and around the southern half of that or continent. Very strange.
Yeah.
So we're gonna agree with a 55% there.
You
And
know what?
you moving it
I'm
up?
gonna give it a plus one. Yeah, plus 1% just for the Destiny references. The
56%.
Cosmodrome is real in real life, and it was real in Destiny. So therefore, aliens must
It's
be real.
100% valid opinion. So before we go today, I want to give a little bit of news regarding our channel and podcast in general. Coming up pretty soon, we are going to be doing a special episode, which is going to be episode number 4, and it's going to take place. I'm traveling to Arizona to meet up with. Oh, fuck! I just doxed you. It's all good.
Sorry, I
There's
already said Arizona earlier in the
okay, no
episode.
problem.
Yeah, so I mean, we've been friends for majority of our lives at this point. We both grew up together, went to school together, and then, um, you know, life, moves, and sometimes you end up moving to a different state. So we haven't seen each other in a real long time. It's gonna be a ton of fun, but yeah, we are gonna be working on something special for you guys. Um, I don't want to give a hint or too big of a hint, but it is something UFO related and something Arizona related. I'm
UFO
sure
month.
some of that's right. I'm sure some of you out there probably know what we're talking about. You'll just have to wait until the episode drops. I think it'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, it's gonna be uh dang, I was gonna say something, but it's gonna spoil what the episode's gonna be about. So I guess I'll hold back on that till next week.
It's the
Or
bullhead
sorry,
bright lights.
that's right, Bullhead City Bright Lights. If you haven't seen or heard of that, we're about to expand your mind,
Oh,
shine some light on what happened back in the year 1997. But yeah, so that's going to be our special episode that we have coming up here soon. As of now, it's what, June 3rd. Um, we're planning to link up June 16th. No, 14th. Yeah, 14th. Get started working on that. So expect that episode coming out in the coming weeks. We may have something else in the meantime just to hold you guys over. But schedules, work, school, stuff like that. So,
exactly.
you know,
Yeah, we're working on getting more regular. It's about every week right now. There was a week gap. We just had a lot going on in life. But we're going to be back on track pretty soon, especially after that trip. And then we're still going through UFO month. There might be a third UFO episode before the month's over. We'll see. Just, trying to get on schedule. But other than that, we have one other announcement, which is cameras will be added starting next podcast. So starting on episode 4. I mean, that one is the special. So we are going to have certain footage, and we might be recording certain things. So it'll be a lot more video. But even past then, we're going to start doing face cams and everything. So, we're adding our faces to the mix. Are we the aliens that these children saw? Possibly.
June is also Men's Health Awareness Month. Yeah, so to all the fellas out there, um, stay strong. I'm sure a lot of us, grew up the same way. Um, just know you're not alone in life. Men do make up a large percentage of the people that control Z themselves from life.
A good one.
Um, yeah, and it's important to talk about your feelings and just know that you are loved. You have support in life. There's people out there who genuinely would like to keep you here. So if you're struggling with something that you're having trouble talking about, I urge you, do your best to please reach out and talk with someone. It's super important. UFO month. We are going to be rocking our tinfoil hats all month long, blocking
Gotta be
out those
safe.
alien telepathy radiation waves. I guess for me, it'll be a tinfoil cowboy hat.
Another good topic as always. I definitely enjoy these topics we cover. If you guys have any input, please drop it in the comments below if you would like us to cover certain topics that you're into, especially UFO related. And, maybe we do a men's health video, something regarding men's health. I think that could be really interesting. We'll talk about that. But other than that, I want y'all to have a good day and look out in this. That's so cheesy. Watch out for aliens, dudes.
Right? Keep your cows in the barn. Stay safe. Stay weird. Stay frosty.
Get
Yeah.
lost.
Hope all of you enjoy the rest of your day, night, evening, weekend, weekday. If you're listening to this on the way to work, I hope you have a good day at work. That's all I got for you.
Bye.
Deuces.